day at a time. One day at a time. That's what we're all about. I do believe that there are some people out here today who truly believe in wanting to make a change, wanting to do something different in life. And sometimes they get into this stagnant position where they don't know which way to turn, what to do, how to get out of that stump. And that's what Transforming Lives is all about. There are so many people out here in this world like Kia Wagner, who's doing something for the community, doing something for people. And that's why we bring him on here. I, sole proprietor of Transforming Lives podcast, I have a niche to make sure people get where they need to get. And that means, and that requires some tools of doing the work, whatever that may be, they have to do the work. And some people don't even know where to start when it comes to doing the work. So we got people in place who have the tools to help you do the work. And then there's opportunities out here where people need healing. And so that's where Prophetess Wagner and many others come into play because they have the tools to get you the healing you need or get you the resources to the tools that you need. So without further ado, I'm just going to say welcome again to Prophetess Kia Holt. And I'm going to say it's a pleasure having you on here. Again, thank you for your time and your energy. And I'm going to just share this a little bit to a few people and a few groups right now. I'm going to share it to a few groups and a few people. And as I say that, I'm going to go ahead and share what I did in regards to bringing awareness to um, empowered, broken to empower. I did this little thing over here, and I'm going to get it right eventually. Well, let me go ahead and do one thing at a time and just share to some folks today. And then I'm going to read your bio. Did you share it to your page already?
Yeah. Yes.
Your group. Oh, okay. Good.
Yes.
I don't have to do that. Okay. So thank you again. So I'm going to read this. It says, born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm reading her bio, everyone. Born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, she received her education through the Baltimore City Public School system and received her diploma from Walbrook High. Kia answered God's call over 20 years ago and now an ordained prophet of God and worships at Bread of Life Ministries International under the guidance of Apostle Jonah Edwards and First Lady Shannon Edwards. She is the mother of 7 beautiful children and the grandmother of one adorable and precious grandson. Professionally, Kia has always worked in the customer service field, which is how she learned of her love and passion for helping people. You gotta have a love and passion to be in customer service because you're gonna encounter so many people, right? Um, Currently, Kia is a supervisor with the Maryland Department of Health, where she gets to show her love for customer service and the satisfaction of helping others. Kia has experienced levels of abuse and brokenness going back to her childhood, which is why God has called her to become a mentor for women who have experienced the same. With giving God a yes to becoming a mentor, Kia is not only the founder and CEO of Broken to Empower, but she is an up and coming author of her first book, The Unveiling of Me. Wow, we're going to talk a little bit about that, or whatever you can give the boss to us. I am eager to hear more about that title right there because you have to be a true woman of God to want to share and be in transparency. And that title speaks to transparency, if I'm not mistaken. That title.
Yes.
That title speaks to
Yes.
transparency, and that takes a lot. We're gonna get into that. I'm eager to hear more about that. Let's start off with some questions. And again, I'm in on Facebook, so if you have some questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll talk about. We'll ask her. I'm all about and I'm sure if there's something on here that she cannot uh reveal at this time that she'll be able to tell you guys that. But let's dialogue tonight. And this is not just a conversation for Wanda G and Kia Wagner. I know some people out here is watching this that may have some questions in regards to Broken to Empower. I'm telling you, we're going to get into that too. But that title itself, okay? Again, that title itself resonates to me that there's some healing that needs to take place. And I know, even at 58, there's still some healing that I need to do as well. Age doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your age is. If you have some trauma, you have some healing you need to get taken care of. Sometimes God brings awareness where you didn't even know you knew that you needed healing.
Right.
You didn't even know it. You didn't even know it. So let's talk about this. Let's start off. What's your purpose in life?
My purpose is exactly Broken to Empower. My purpose is to help women who are broken, help them to get to a place of healing or being healed enough to begin to speak about it, and then take that and pour into someone else. Hence, Broken to Empower.
Thank you. When did you know you had that purpose? When did you know that it was your purpose, and why is it your purpose? Is there a passion behind your purpose?
Yes. I've known what my purpose was, as far as helping women, but I didn't know to what capacity it was. The entire thing honestly did not become clear to me until about 6 to 7 months ago. And so it with the way and the road that God was taking me, putting me into different leadership positions, getting me ready to be able to become a leader amongst others. And while I'm in this transformation, that road to leadership became very, very hard for me, and I didn't understand it. When I was just recently, I've just become a supervisor about 2 years ago. And in that transition, that road, that's how I figured out that I'm supposed to be a mentor for women. Because in this role, when I first began, yes, that transition was very, very hard, because I was coming from being a customer service agent to now being the supervisor of my peers. And that in itself can be hard, because now you're switching roles and people have to now look at you in a different aspect, not as their co-worker, but now their leader. So that was hard. And I had gotten to a point where I was like, Lord, what is this? I can't do this. It had gotten to a point where I was being taken to HR, reports and everything was being done against me. And I said, Lord, what is going on? Like, I know that this is where I'm supposed to be because of just the way everything happened. But I didn't know it was going to be this hard. And then it was funny because I was offered this position, and it was a different position. And this is while I'm going through. And this was a position that I've always wanted. I've always wanted this position. And funny, it came up in this time that I'm going through these hard times. And I was considering taking it. until one of my staff members came to me and I shared this decision with her. And she said, no, you can't leave. This is where God has you. He has you here for us. We need you here. And it still wasn't, it was somewhat clear at that moment, but it wasn't clear. And it made me feel some type of way, but in a good way. And so, of course, I didn't take the job. And every night, every morning when I came home, every night when I came home, I would pray that God would ease the tension. And every morning when I got up at 5:00, 5:30 in the morning, I would pray, God, go before me into this workplace and ease the tension. Whatever it is, ease it up, because I don't know what this is. And so I showed up every day. I showed up every day, every day. And then all of a sudden, one day it was chaos. And the next day it was like the monotony broke. And the atmosphere was completely different. The attitude towards me were completely different. They were more receiving. And I work with a whole bunch of women. And there was a point where, as I said, listen, I need to get some men in here because we need some testosterone, because this is a lot. You know how us women can be. It's like, it can be a lot. So I could never get any men. I found several different men that were suitable for the position, but something always came up where either they got another job somewhere else. Something always happened to where, as though they would, I couldn't bring them in. So as I started hiring, of course, more women, I've noticed that the women that were coming in had some type of issue going on. There were times where I did interviews that we never even talked about the job. It was me mentoring them, me speaking into them, into their issue. There was one lady who I hired. We never talked about the job at all in the interview. And I brought her on. She didn't even last. And I don't think she lasted a month. But I asked God, I said, what happened? Because I just knew that this was where she was supposed to be. And God revealed to me, I didn't send her there for the job. I sent her there for you to speak into her. I sent her there so that you can give her a word. And so that's when it really became clear to me that what I'm supposed to be doing with these women. Because years ago, I've always seen myself standing before women. I never knew what it was. And I always asked God, I said, no, first, I didn't even know they were women. I seen myself standing before people, but I never knew who the group of people were. And so I used to ask God, what is this? Why do you keep showing me this? And who are these people? And so it became clear to me at that moment, which was just a few months ago, that I am to be a mentor for these women. And there are times where I hold staff meetings where we don't even talk about work stuff. It's like a whole counseling session. So, and that's when I really gave God my yes as to doing the mentoring program. Because I've always been a shy person, never talked a lot. So that was one hindrance for me, and why I always shied away from what he was showing me. But when I gave him my yes to do this, he started dropping different people in my path to push me forward. And even coming up with the name Broken to Empower, that is something that God dropped it in my spirit one morning about July or so. And I was like, wow, I like that. That's powerful. But I never really understood how powerful it was until I started hearing different people say, wow, I looked at it as just another name, like, okay, but when people look at it, they see something that in the beginning I couldn't see. So, um, so yes, that's how I found out, what my purpose is.
Thank you. As you were talking, I keep hearing the word resilience. I kept hearing that when you were speaking about how you was resistant to the call of being a supervisor, how you were tested and tried in your role. And it's not so wonder that um, God put us two together because the same thing happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the difference between you and I was that I quit.
Mm-hmm.
I quit. And I have a tendency that when things get hard, I quit.
Okay.
And so that's something that I'm asking God to help me work on because I'm a firm believer. I know God won't bring any chaos and confusion to me, but I also know that, excuse me, for every mountain he bring me to, he'll bring me over.
Exactly.
And so, with that being said, I'm asking God, and this is where it comes in with me broken to empower because I've been broken in those spaces and places where I was the supervisor and the enemy came up against me. And so it got to a point, when you're dealing with other things in your life, you're trying to balance the work life and balance
Mm-hmm.
it out, work and life, at home. And then you get to the point where you say, you know what, God, I'm not going to be able to do this. And I go back to, God says that all those who are heavy burdened come to me and I'll give you rest.
Mm-hmm.
And so the capacity, it came again where I became into a leadership in God's house. Same thing came up.
Okay.
Same enemy showed his head. And I
Mm-hmm.
recognized that enemy for who he was and that spirit because I had already been dealt with that spirit before. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I took that spirit on head on because I did.
Right.
I did not.
Right.
I did not because I choose to believe that I know I'm there for a purpose. Maybe my purpose was ending because here come chaos and confusion. Here
Mm-hmm.
come discord, and that's something that me and God, we got to keep talking about because I want to be,
Right. Right.
I want to be a vessel he can use, right?
Right.
I definitely want to be a vessel he can use, but in the same token, I know me, and I know that
Right.
I'm not going to put up with so much. And I'm like, God, your daughter. Why you put me back in this situation?
Right. Right.
you know,
Right.
your daughter. Your daughter ain't gonna put up with this foolishness, this discord, these imps and these devils and this that. I'm not gonna do it. And so I
Yes.
said, God, keep working on your daughter, because God, I still say, a just man falls 7 times to get back up. And I said, God,
Exactly.
come on, come on. I'm still, you use so many people that weren't worthy to be used. You use them, and I ain't worthy to be used, God. But I am a willing vessel. Let's get up. God, get up. I'm gonna wipe dust the dirt off my pants, and I'm gonna say, okay, God, I tried again.
Right.
What person in their right mind want to keep getting beaten up because you're a mouthpiece for God, right? But that's what they say. They crucified Jesus. They threw stones at him. I mean, come on, who am I? I ain't any different,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So I kept hearing resilience, and I really, really kept hearing resilience when you kept talking about your walk and the different things that people kept going to HR, on you, and the enemy came up against you, but you still there. You're still there fighting, every devil, every imp that come up against you. And
Yes.
I commend you for that. I'm not that big girl yet. I'm
I
not
didn't know
big.
I was.
Right,
I
right,
didn't know I was.
right,
But, but in that I had people speaking into me.
right.
And, and even some years ago, it was 20 years ago when I in my first marriage is when I, started, and I may be jumping ahead a little bit, but when I started getting into when I experienced some of the abuse and things like that. And after that, a few years after my divorce from that, I knew that I was supposed to speak my truth and speak on what I went through. But I was at a point where as though I was ashamed, I was embarrassed of what I went through. So that was a whole other walk that I had to get through. But, but coming to now, it's just I knew that I had to do something, but it wasn't clear what it was until now. And when he starts moving and when he starts putting you in place, he does it so fast to where as though you're looking like, okay, how did I get here? Like, what just happened? And that's how it happened with me, because when I started getting back into, because there was a period where I stopped going to church and I was like, Lord, look, I can't do this. You know, I experienced church hurt, and I was like, I'm not fooling with that stuff. Like, Lord, you know who I am, and you know that I love you and I want to do your will. But I can't deal with some of this stuff. I don't know what it is. So I need for you to place me in where I need to be in a place that's going to feed me, that's going to feed into me. Um, I knew that I was a prophet long time ago, back 20 something years ago. But I said, but I kept hearing his voice and he would speak to me and it's like, I'm like, okay, I know what this is, but it can't be me. You're not using me this way. Like, no. And so I ran from that for a little bit because I was like, no, I know this is not what you're telling me. Like, no. But just as he speaks to all of us, there are certain things that he says to me that is just like, I'm like, okay, this is a little scary because I just couldn't take it. And so, but it got to a point where as though a few years ago I said, Lord, I need to be in a space that's going to help me grow into what you want me to be. And when I did that and he led me to Bread of Life, it was like once I went there and I recommitted myself, he moved so fast. I've only been at Bread of Life for about 2 years, and you know, and he moved me so fast to being ordained. It was like, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm looking back, I'm like, okay, I'm here now. Like, wow, it almost makes my head spin to a degree because he just works so strategically and so fast. And as I'm moving up in ministry, I'm also this is when I'm moving up professionally as well. So it's all happening all at once because now I'm seeing as I look back on it, now he's transforming me, and he's getting me closer to that purpose because this is what you need. I need you here because the people who I have for you to speak into, to work with, I need you here, but I need you here sooner than you're trying to get there. So um and it's I sometimes I look back and I am in awe as to how he moves and how he has moved in my life. And it's just so amazing. And I have a new outlook and I see him differently than I did before. So, it's just amazing. And I am just so thrilled that he chose me to do this, little old me, to do this. I can't hear you.
I need to take it out for me.
There we go. Yes.
But that's awesome, Kia. You've given me hope that one day when God gives me another opportunity to do what I need to do for Him to get the glory and finished, um, then I can say what you did and what you showed me helped me get through. I didn't have that person to say, keep doing it, keep pushing on, keep
Right.
pushing. I didn't have that.
Right.
Not to take anything away from any of my girlfriends and anything like that, but I have a mentor now. Then I didn't have a mentor. Back then when I was going through, because we all need somebody, because iron sharpens iron. And we all need somebody, that other voice to say, hey, you can do it no matter what. So that person that can cry with you, sit
Right.
with you, pray with you. I did not have that when I was
Mm-hmm.
going through what I went through 2 years ago, when I was in that leadership position.
Right.
I did not have that at all. At the time, I don't even think I had, I think I was dealing with church hurt. So I wasn't even to the point where I could go, to the elders or the women of the church and say, hey, this is what I'm going at, to keep me covered, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
So just to hear what you said keeps gives me hope, and I appreciate that. I really do. I really do.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, yeah. And doing this walk, call life, this journey called life, um, I'm sure we've seen some things, we've been through some things, we trampled over some hurdles, and crossed some deserts, went into the valley, and all that
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. So, who were your mentors? If you can name just one or two, or if you have mentors or had mentors in the past, and still do, who are your mentors, and why are they, you consider them your mentors?
Um, Honestly, right now, I don't have a mentor per se. Um, I have someone that I do look up to, and I don't know if she knows it. I don't know if she's watching, but um, my first lady, the first lady of my church, we have her and my apostle. We have known each other for years, and back I think we met actually when we were teenagers, uh, through the church. But one thing about my first lady is that the power that she has now, um, to me, she had that same power back then, and she never strayed. And it's like, even now, whenever I need to talk, whenever I need to cry, whenever I need her to just listen, because when I call her, those are conversations that I can't call my girlfriends, because I'm not going to get the same response that I need to get. And she gives me what I need. Um, so I would say, as of right now, um, I look to her as being a mentor, even though we haven't officially stated that, but I do look at her as a mentor, um, because she has done so much, and like I said, she builds me up in ways I don't even think that she knows. Just the words that she speaks and how she speaks with authority into anything, and I do look up to her. I am looking for um a mentor, um If it turns out to be her, then wonderful. But you know, I am asking God to send that right person to me. Um, because I don't want just anyone, because at this point in this stage in the game for me, I don't want just anybody pouring into me, or anyone um being attached to me in that way. Um, because right now I am all about business, kingdom business, and I need that right person to be there for that purpose.
Oh,
So,
that's right.
yes.
I know that's right. Mentorship is mentoring others. Oh gosh. And I'm gonna
Yes.
touch and agree with you on that in regards to having a mentor in your life, asking God to bring that person forth, um, who He wants you to have in your life. It is very important. One of the things I like about my mentor is that sometimes she tells me things through scripture, even though she
Mhm.
doesn't know it sometimes, that I can be confiding in her, and it has sealed the deal. And I'm like, okay, okay. Because sometimes, even though God said my sheep knows my voice, sometimes we're not in that place to hear God's voice. You know
Right.
what I mean? He said my sheep know my voice. And then you be like, oh my gosh, because you're thinking about so many other things, on your mind. And so that mentor, could kind of like get you to that place where you need to sit back, you need to hear God's voice. If give you ways
Right.
of knowing, okay, just give you scriptures and stuff, and encouragement and things like that. Sometimes they tell you what you don't want to hear, but
Yes.
nevertheless, I pray that a mentor that God shall have in your life shall be soon. Like you said, if that's your first lady, then your lady, first lady, then that shall be. If it's not,
Yes.
or you can have more than one, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
As God. So you talked about your passion and why you do what you do. And I know it's all tied into your work and what you do at work, and why you was doing what you was doing at work, and customer service is your baby. I feel the same way. I feel like customer service has gone out the door. I think people don't even know the importance of customer service.
Right.
And one day God gonna let me come forth and do my modules, and people gonna say, okay, in the business, they're gonna realize, yeah, we need her, because these folks need to go back to A,
Oh
B,
my
and
goodness.
C of customer
Yes.
service,
Yes.
because it's
Yes.
not prevalent at all. And just like me, I've been in the business for over 30 years of customer service. And so when you've been in that business for so long, like myself and you, we have an ear for certain things, right?
Right.
And
Right.
certain things we're not going to tolerate, right?
Yes.
Certain things
Oh
we're
my
like,
goodness.
oh my goodness, no, you know what I mean? So, so I understand that's your passion. So for the community, I know you're doing things for the community. I know God gave you the vision of Broken to Empower, and I know um, it's about healing women. You know, elaborate more on that vision that God has given you.
The vision that he has given me is, oh my goodness, he has, it's just, to me it's impossible, because I'm like, why? Like, me, I'm supposed to do this, like, me? But um but he gave me this, and when he made it clear to me that I am to do this, and be a mentor, um the basically it is, and it's not basic, it truly isn't basic, but I am to mentor these women, um and there's different levels to this, because um it's not just emotional brokenness. It's brokenness in almost every aspect. And it wasn't until I started really writing my book that I realized how much brokenness I have within me, that I have encountered over my life. And that's when it started becoming clear to me that, you know what, you're about to encounter a lot of people who's going to have the issues that you've gone through. And he wants me to get them to a place of healing, because once we get to a place of healing, we can speak and talk about those issues. There's a lot of women who have gone through so much hurt and they're broken in so many different ways, but we bottle it up because, again, because we are the strong ones. We birth nations. So we are expected, it seems as though, to carry a lot. And in life, I've noticed that we as women, it's almost like we're not allowed to show the tiredness. We're not allowed to show the pain. We're not allowed to show, because everyone looks at us as being the stronger one, when in fact, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how that is, and that's not how God designed us. But now, because the dynamics of this world has changed a lot, and now we as women have taken on a lot of different roles that technically, honestly, we shouldn't. We have so many single parents out here, so many single mothers who are taking on roles of fathers and being everything for everyone. And we learn to suppress a lot of the things that we deal with, because we have to be that strong person. We can't let our children know that we are going through, because we have to hold it together for them. But we get caught up in that, and it spills over into every other aspect in our lives. And so we have to get to a point of being able to speak it, but we can't speak it until we actually are healed from it. And once we get to a place of speaking it, then we will be able to do the assignments that God has given us, which are other people, because now we're able to speak into them. And one thing God showed me just a few weeks ago, no, just last month, he showed me that, because I was wondering why I was being faced with something again, and why I was being taken through this abuse again, not to the same degree as before, but I seen it coming back up in my life. And I'm like, Lord, where did this all come from? Why am I going through this again? And he showed me that I'm taking you back to this because now you're able to face it with a different power. I have to remind you that you are healed from this. So I have given you the power to now speak into it. And also, I'm taking you back to it because I have to give you a refreshing. Because when I delivered you from it the first time, you left people there who now need to know how you got through it. So now he has given me the ability and the confidence to now speak my pain. And because those women need to hear my pain, they can relate with my pain. And now I'm able to pour into someone else. Now he has healed me to be able to pour into someone else. So that's my job, is to get people to a healed place, to be able to now be comfortable enough to go and do the assignments that God has for them and pour into someone else. And that's how we are going to birth the nation of healed women. And so, because he has a work for us to do as women, he's built us for this fight. But he has to get us to a point of being healed before he can use us. And that's where I come in. So he's using me.
Okay. Now, I was writing down questions after questions when you was talking. I said, I know this ain't part of the interview questions, but you brought up some things that kind of triggered me a little bit, not in a negative way, but it triggered me to the point where I'm like, okay, there go that word again. There go that word again. Strong woman. Like, I've heard that so much out of my life. To the point that I don't want to hear that word anymore. I don't take it as a badge of honor anymore. You're a strong woman. I don't want to hear that no more. I raised 2 kids on my own, and all I kept hearing was one of their dads say, "You're a strong woman. You're a strong woman." That's because he was absent of doing what he was supposed to do for her. And I'm like, for a minute, I took it as a badge of honor for when I was ignorant to the fact that I was really allowing this man to say I was a strong woman, because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do as that parent. So I sat back and I fried Peter to pay Paul, and I made sure the kids ate. I made sure this was done. I made sure that was done, and I was labeled as a superwoman, right? And now at the age that I'm at, nope. And I thank God that I have a husband that realizes that when I'm ready to, take off my say for instance, we don't really have gender roles over here. We don't have gender roles. And that's the good thing about being in this marriage, right? Is that I can take out the trash. You understand what I'm saying? He can wash a dish. You know what I mean? He can cook. You know what I mean? He can mop a floor. It's not even about that. It's about being able to do what we need to do to get things right? That strong woman mentality. Oh my gosh, I hate it. I don't want to bring it forth on my daughter at all. Now she's a single parent, but I'm not gonna dare say, "Girl, you strong." I'm just gonna say, ask God to give you his strength. You understand what I'm saying? And different things. I'll say that to her. Now I said this to. Why do you think? And I got a couple questions. Why do you think that the Black woman, and I'm going to say Black woman, has been labeled as a strong woman? Okay. And we wore it as a badge of honor. Is that a disservice to us today? Was it a disservice back then? And if we give that character trait to our daughters, are we doing a disservice to them? That's 3 questions in one, but I got some more for you. Go ahead. What do you think?
I don't think it's a disservice. Only because honestly, it's just how you take it. To me, we have always been the ones who, even going back to our ancestors, we always were the one to hold it down. Like, we just knew how to do that. Like, I don't know where it actually came from, but we just automatically knew how to do that. And but I don't really think that it is a disservice. It's honestly all in how you take it and how you want to move in it. I do look at myself as a strong woman, because of the power that's in me, the power that actually what God has put in me, not because of any stereotype or anything that the world looks at, but just merely because of the power that God has instilled in me. And just like you said, you would tell your daughter, allow God to give you the strength that he has. So if that's what a strong woman looks like, then so be it. But Yeah, it's all in the way that you look at it to me.
Thank you. I'm actually putting up a poll because I want to hear what others have to say
Hmm.
about the labeling of this of a black strong woman. And I'm gonna ask people to make a choice.
Hmm.
Um, or make it put it in the comments section. Um, the other question that I had was, you said that if we in order to do better, we have to speak it without really believing it. Do you think that people can really achieve it, even though they speak it? Do they have to really believe it?
Yes. Um, they have to actually you have to believe that you are healed from this thing. You know, because that's how you walk in it. You have to believe it. And once you get to that point, it it brings about a different you per se. People can see it because you walk in confidence. You can speak it, but if that's not what you feel, you know, your body speaks one thing, your mouth can say one thing, but your body shows something else. So you can actually speak it and not believe it. But the people who are looking for the information and um that's that's coming from you, they will see like, yeah, I hear her saying it, but I'm just not feeling it, or I'm just not getting that vibe. It's something about it, but you have to believe that you are in that healing state. So yes, I do think that not just speaking it, you do have to believe it.
And did you elaborate on why you have to believe it?
um yes, because that's how you walk in it, is believing it.
Is that where faith comes in?
Yes. Yes. Strong faith.
She said strong faith. I know
Oh,
that's right. I know that's right. Uh, uh, so I guess I guess that where we differ a little bit because I
hmm.
believe because of my past experience, I believe that woman, a strong woman, is a disservice to me, and
Hmm.
I don't want to be labeled
Right.
as such because
Right.
I want to walk into, no, I need help in this area. I need help in that
Right.
area. And I don't want to
Right.
be
Right.
labeled as, and that's only because of experience.
Right. Hmm.
Uh,
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about your family dynamic and how the family dynamic has influenced you on the decisions and the journeys that you're taking now.
Um, my family dynamic. Um, how I got to be where I am, um, goes back into goes back into my first marriage, which was, you know, everything starts out great. Um, but at some at we don't see the flags. We don't see well, we see them. We just choose not to pay attention to them. And so out of that marriage came 6 children. But within that time, we were together like 10 years or so. But, you know, um, during that time, I I experienced every every form of abuse that there could be. The the mental, the verbal, the emotional, the physical, you know, and um and so when I got to a point of, of walking away from that, um that's when I knew that I had to, at some point, I had to start working and informing people about the abuse and helping people through whatever they were going through. Um, I have 7 children, and they have been very, 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 very supportive, especially in the time that I'm in now. Um, my children are, my oldest is 31, then my daughter is 20. I have a son that's 19. Um, I have a daughter that's 18, another daughter that is 16, another daughter that's 15, and my son is 14. So been they have gone through this journey with me, and they've seen everything. Um, and you know, sometimes I thought that I did them a disservice because of some of the choices that I've made. But as I look at them today, you know, and I see the strength that they had, um, and God has really moved them to a point of being able to now push me and speak into me, um, and I thank God for that. And they have seen, especially the older ones, they have seen a lot that I didn't really think that they did see. And children see a lot of things. They may not speak on it, but they see a lot of things. And so um they seen the physical abuse, you know, um and it's like, and that's one thing that I did not want. I did not, and still don't. I don't want my children to think that this is okay. I don't want my children to think that, you know, that this is the type of person that you need to be. As far as my young men, I don't want them to think that this is the type of person that they should be, or this is how they should be. Um, I don't want my young ladies to think that this is acceptable. I don't want them to think that, that you need to inflict pain upon someone else to think that you are dominant or whatever. you know um so I try to be very careful as to the environment that I put them in, and the environment that they are exposed to. um so they have been very supportive in my walk, um especially now, and I just thank them so much for that. And I have so many, my family members have been so supportive as well. you know there's a lot that has gone on within my past that my family don't even know, because I've kept silent about it for so long. They know some stuff, but they don't know everything. And so this is where, with me being with me now walking in the role of a mentor, um God revealed to me that it's time for you to be transparent as to who you are, who you were, and what you went through. And that was kind of hard for me to take when he spoke that to me, because it's like, I have to, like, to what level, Lord? Like, really? And it wasn't until honestly this very moment that I realized that um last month I had someone speaking to me, and I've never seen this lady before in my life. And she said to me, she said, God is trying to use you in a way that you don't want him to. And I didn't understand what that meant until this very moment, when I just said that, because and it's the transparency. And I have to be transparent. And even though I started writing the book that is revealing a lot about me, I still didn't understand until now the transparency in it. Um, so that part right there is very, very hard for me, but it's needed because just as he wants me to mentor people, I have to, I can't do that without revealing the parts of me that they're dealing with. So I have to be in tune with those things within me in order for me to help someone else. So um so yes, my family dynamic, my squad, as I tend to refer to them as, because of course there's so many, but they we have been through a journey. We have gone through a journey. We've gone through homelessness. We've gone through so much. And, um, but they've been right there with me. And one thing one of my aunts used to tell me, she said, I'm so proud of you because no matter what happened in your life, you kept all of your kids with you, you know. And my kids till this day, they were brought up, um, they are used to being together. They will sit at the dining room table. And it's so funny because as they were growing up, they always, for whatever reason, they've had assigned seats everywhere they go. They have assigned seats in the car, they have assigned seats at the dining room table. They have so so it's like whenever it's time to eat dinner, they sit in those exact same seats. Whenever it's time for us to get in the car and go anywhere, they sit in those same exact seats. Um, and but the togetherness is what they have. And I look at them sometimes, and it's like there are times that my kids will go and just sit at the dining room table and they'll just talk. Um, and I may not be included in those conversations, but I sit and I listen to them, and I look at them and I see where the togetherness that they had. And out of everything that we have endured, they stay close and they look out for one another. And as crazy as it may get in this household, whoo, um, the noise, the sounds of them is one thing that keeps me going. And they may argue, they may fuss, but to a degree, I like hearing that because, you know, a lot of that comes the teaching of conflict resolution. You know, I'll leave them to it to hash out their own problems, to figure it out sometimes. They come to me when it gets to the point where they just can't do it anymore. You know, um, but I love it. But at the end of the day, as I stated before, they have gone through a lot with me and we have endured a lot. And I just thank God for their support in where I'm moving to now.
That was a lot, and I really appreciate your transparency in that. Um, when you talk about your children and you talk about, raising kids in this day and time, we didn't always do the best things. We didn't always
Mm-hmm.
expose them to the best atmosphere or put them around the best people and they didn't see the best of us at
Right.
times. And I know for me, I had to have a conversation with my children and I had to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that started the healing process, apologizing to them for whatever I may have done or
Right.
have exposed them to that may have caused them some trauma in their lives, or whatever I may
Right.
have done that possibly they look back at now and have some regrets of being exposed to this or that person or whatever the case may be. So I think we one of the things it made you vulnerable to your children to say, when you say to your children, I wasn't the best parent because there is no best parent. There's no perfect
Right.
parent. Put it that way. There's no perfect parent. There was
Right.
no handbook written to say this is how you do this is how you do that.
Exactly.
And I said to them, both of them, and I said, I do apologize for anything that I may have done that you brought into your adulthood. Let's work it out. What is it? Is there
Hmm.
anything I can help you with? My daughter will tell me, "Man,
Exactly.
you did your best, Ma. I saw you, you know." And as I told people, and I think I said shared this on Sierra's podcast, I said there was many times that I went into my closet. My kids didn't even know I was in the closet crying and praying to God, you know, because some things you don't want to expose them to. You don't want
Right.
them to see that side of you.
Right.
But
Exactly.
there was no handbook. And when you sit back and you say, "Oh, they sit at the table now and they have conversations," and what I'm seeing is they might be fussing and arguing with the outside person might see, but I see conflict resolution. You know, I see
Right.
them working it. I see them working it out. And unless I think I need to intervene, then I'm gonna sit back and let them work it out. You know,
Exactly.
and although they may have been exposed to certain things, they may have seen mommy in a different light, in a light, unfavorable light. I think that will make them even strong adults. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that togetherness that they have, they will always have. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You got seats that, hey, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna sit at this right here. This is my seat at the table, this is my seat in the car. Here, I tell you, and I, I say to you, when you say to me, I have to tell my story. To me, it doesn't come easy to some people. You know,
Hmm.
some people are very reserved in telling their story, like because
Right.
they feel as though people want to judge them. You
Right.
know, I
Right.
say, yeah, I say this in order to help somebody get to a different place where you've been, is to tell your story, right? Tell your
Exactly.
story. So healing emotionally broken women to empower others, right? I I saw that on your page. You see, I put it on my flyer. And
Yes.
I say this, emotionally broken women. I don't care how old you are, there is a place in your life where you need some healing,
Yes.
and deliverance. After
Yes.
healing is deliverance, and then there's
Yes.
restoration, right?
Exactly.
And
Yes.
where you can help somebody else out because why? Because somebody helped you.
Because somebody helped you. Exactly.
Possibly tell you how to deal with certain situations because I haven't walked it. But you
Hmm.
can, you know what I mean? You may be
Right.
able to tell
Right.
them because you walked in it. You saw how God took you through. Although it may have been painful at the time, it's called I'm delivered. I'm set free. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Delivered, I'm set free, and you can be too. That's the important part about it.
That's
That's
the
what
important part.
that's where what I'm talking about when I talk about transforming a life. I'm talking about making changes. I'm talking about setting somebody free. I'm talking about delivering. I'm talking about
Yes.
restoration. But
Yes.
what most important thing in life in all of this is God. we
Yes.
we take God out the equation, and it's all about us, right? We
Hmm.
don't When we put God in the equation, we begin to give people hope when we put God in it because I know the kid couldn't get through what she went through without God. I
Without.
know Wanda couldn't get through what Wanda went through without God. And guess what? That next person is not going to be able to get through without having God at the center of their life.
Exactly.
Did you want to elaborate on that before I go to the next question? Or were you about to say something?
Well, yes. What we have to understand in our journey is that everything that we go through, it's he's building us to be able to help someone else. It's not for us. Once we start thinking that way, then some of what we're going through won't be, it may not seem as hard, you know, because we have to start living in a way of helping someone else. it's the same thing as, oh, well, for me, it's like, okay, if I don't pray today, you know, then I can't help, something may happen to so and so, you know, whoever God lays on your heart to pray for, you know, you could actually intercede for them, you know. And sometimes we have to get in that mindset. If I don't go through this, then whoever that next assignment is that God has for me, you know, may not be able to get through what they're going through. Because everything that we do, everything that he puts us through, he's gonna get us through it. Yes, it may be hard, but once you come out of it, and once you're delivered from it, and once he brings you out of it, he has someone there waiting for you to hear what you have to say, whether you're going to go and water that seed, or whether you're going to go uh plant the seed, you know, whatever it is, God has that next assignment for you. And he has someone there waiting for you to walk into it, to go through it, to depend on him to get through it, you know. So if we can think like that, and that's the love for people, that's the love for not just people, that's the love for souls, that's the love for edifying the church, that's the love for growing the church. You know, once we start thinking like that, and getting and working for someone else, everything that we do is for someone else. Because if we actually look at it, you
I hear
know,
you loud
hey,
and clear, Key. I hear you loud and clear.
we we're working for someone else, just like someone is working for us.
All right. Well, I wanted to read a comment on here. I put the poll up there,
Mm-hmm.
and I put the poll on, do you think the word strong woman was a disservice, was it a disservice to label a woman's characteristic as a strong woman? And one of the young ladies said, I don't believe it is a Natalia Gordon. She says, I don't believe it is a disservice. It is as a badge of honor, having been surrounded by strong women. I know I can achieve whatever I set my mind to, just like here, blessings from my heart. And I'm going to say this, Natalia. I think that you surround yourself with a bunch of strong women who emulated that they can do anything if they set their mind to it. And I think when I say that, I truly agree with you. But in a sense of a strong woman, in a sense, I meant as, people, look at you as if you're strong and you're not, you won't be weak at times.
Mm-hmm.
She can handle anything.
Right,
She
right.
can handle anything that she come up against. Oh, you got it. You good because I know you strong. But how about asking me, do I need some help at some time or another? I've lived it. I'm 58
Mm-hmm.
years old and I've lived that with somebody always put that label on me to the point where when I was weak, I had to be strong.
Right.
I had to be because that was the label that was put on me.
Put on you.
And
Right.
that's why I felt like at some point in my life as I got older that it was a disservice to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said that. But I truly understand what you're saying as well, Natalia Gordon, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Anybody else got any more questions on here? Um, please put them up there, or you can answer the poll. Octavia Floyd said, "No, there isn't a handbook. Yes, that unity is healing, is empowering." And then Zelda said, "Yes, I believe it. We all have a story, especially as still hold still hold being a strong Black woman. We go through a lot. Zelda, we do go through a lot as women.
Mm-hmm.
We take on the world sometimes. Um,
Exactly.
and I think that people say that you got it. You good,
Mm-hmm.
because I know you
Mm-hmm.
can do it. How
Mm-hmm.
about you offer me some assistance in this?
Right.
Because I ain't got it this time. I ain't good this time.
I'm falling apart. I don't know
Yeah,
what you see, but
and we have a tendency to put that mask on. We
right,
do, because we've
right,
been labeled so much that we can't show that weakness,
right.
and we have
Exactly.
that mask on, but all behind that mask, we're crying out for help, you
Right.
know. So we got like 10 more minutes before this
Mm-hmm.
thing probably will cut us off, but I'm gonna keep going on a little bit, and I am watching the chat. Um, but please let me know if you have any more questions or if you have any more comments. I am watching the social media on Facebook. I am watching. So what does transform a life, and just if you can give me one sentence on what does transforming one's life mean to you? I'm gonna always ask this question when I'm on my podcast because it's
Of
called
course.
transforming
Right.
lives. But
Right.
we're all about
Why
change.
not? We got
Exactly. So what does that mean to you in retrospect to what your vision is?
empowerment. Empowering everybody. Empowering as many people as we can to get them to a point and seeing who they are. Because a lot of people are walking around and don't really know who they are. They're living a life almost like robots. Yeah, go to work, come home, do, but that's not really who they are. A lot of us don't know who we are. We have to get to a point of knowing us. What are our likes? What are our dislikes? What is it that we inspire to do? What has God implanted and impregnated us to do? You know, coming out of that norm, coming out of the stereotypical way of living, that, oh, you're just supposed to go to work and family stuff, and that's it. That's not what life is. Once we know who we are and who we were created to be, then we can live in our true selves. We can live as God intended us to live. So that's what transforming lives looks like to me. Getting to know us, getting to know ourselves, so that we're able to live in our truth and live the way God intended us to live.
I know that in so many relationships, I know that there are broken people, but we're focusing on women. And I'm just going to encourage folks to get in touch with you. She does coaching and mentorship. And if you
Mm-hmm.
have someone that you want to refer to her, she has a page on Facebook called Broken to Empower. She also is on a Facebook under Kia Wagner. She is a true woman of God and a prophetess. But I want to say this, even if it's not you and you know somebody can benefit from this woman of God and what her walk was like, and can help that person in any aspect of their life in regards to healing, please refer them to Kia, and refer them to the page as well.
Mm-hmm.
She does have some t-shirts. I saw those, and I'm gonna give you one of those t-shirts as well. Um,
Yeah.
so go to her page, Broken to Empower, support this young lady and what God is doing in her life. Bless her. The best thing you can do for people, if you don't even know, I don't know how to bless her. The best thing you can do is to share her page, invite people to her
Right.
page, you
Right.
know,
Exactly.
and help somebody else to get where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I just want to, Natalia says, but don't feel like you can't ask for help. That's too is a strength. I
Mm-hmm.
heard you loud and clear, Natalia. I heard you loud and clear. That too is a strength. And Octavia says we have to learn how to ask for help without fear of being rejected.
Right.
That right there um is a whole nother ball game, Octavia. Maybe prophetess will come on her page one day and speak about that. Asking
Yes.
for help without fear of being rejected, because a lot of people don't like rejection, can't handle rejection. Put it that way.
Right. Right.
You can't
That's a
handle
lot.
it. So we can say that all day, however, but some folks don't know how to handle rejection. And so I'm going to ask her to put it out there one day on her page, Broken to
Definitely.
Empower. I also asked her to talk about church hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's another reason why a lot of people strayed away from the church. And we know that the church is just a building and that the people in it are actually the church. We're the church.
Right.
We are the
Right.
church. And I had to remember that there are some broken people that's in God's house. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get that hurt, and even from people you didn't think you're going to get the hurt from. But we're
Right.
all in the process of healing, and that's why we go is to get help. Um,
Yes.
so before we got 5 more minutes to go,
Mm-hmm.
and so I want to talk more about where you're trying to take Broken to Empower, and also just tell us a little bit of tell us what you want us to know, and then we'll end the segment there.
Okay. Broken to Empower is um I want to get to a point of right now, which is so surprising to me. There's 53 members. I just launched it. This is what, November. I just launched it in October. So it's just been moving forward for just about a month now. And so where the vision that I have is it's global. Um, and and God has already shown me this. There's conferences coming. He's working on our first women's conference for 2024. So I'm actually working to put something in place for that, you know. And I and the only way we can grow is that we have to start working together. We have to start getting to a place of the healing so that we're able to pour into someone else. That's how we grow, pouring into someone else. A flower doesn't grow unless you water it. You got to pour water on it. So we have to pour into someone else, um, and spread the word. And that's how we are going to grow. When I started this, and you mentioned about the t-shirts, I was not planning on selling t-shirts and hoodies and things like that. I wasn't planning on selling any merchandise. I got a t-shirt made just for me, which is done by my cousin, ex-dope artist. Check him out. He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he does everything. But I had him make a t-shirt and a hoodie for me just for advertisement as I was launching the program. But then people started seeing, they saw the shirt one day and was like, oh, I want a shirt, I want a shirt, I want a shirt. I was like, Lord, what just happened? And so he said, and he spoke to me and he said, okay, you weren't trying to sell anything just yet, but you need income. So here you go. I need you to do this now. So but yes, it's global. And so and this thing is going to move fast. It's going to move fast. He's strategically putting people in place. I have an organizational coordinator who he has brought to me, who's helping me organize the structure of the program. So by this being very new, I'm learning because I have no clue. Honestly, I have no clue what I'm doing, but God is putting people in place and he's giving me the vision. So they are helping me work the vision. So I just plan on moving the way God moves me. And so this isn't going anywhere. So Broken to Empower will be around for a while, you know. And look out for the book that's going to be coming out, The Unveiling of Me, which is my transparency, my truth. It digs into my childhood, the neglect in my childhood, the molestation in my childhood, the abuse that I have encountered in the first marriage, the abuse that tried to sneak up in the second one, but didn't. Um, the what else? The all of the relationships that I've been in, whether it was a love relationship, friendship, or what have you, everything that contributed to the woman that I am today. So it speaks
Okay.
about everything.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, I want to bring you back on when, especially when you're about to have your conference, and we can talk a little bit. We can
Yes.
do a little snippet. We can do a
Hmm.
YouTube video on it. It doesn't matter. Trying to get the YouTube together, the Instagram together, the TikTok together, because I do want to do TikTok lives as
Hmm.
well. As you
Right.
can, there's billions of people on TikTok, so we're going to get the
Right.
word out to the masses, right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to be inviting the two guests that I just had this month on TikTok with me to do a TikTok podcast.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm excited for you. I want to thank you. And I also want to tell the guests I do apologize for technical difficulties. We're going to get that right in Jesus' name because he
Yes,
does
ma'am.
things in excellence. And I'm going to be able
And
to
in
come on here
order.
one day in order. And I'm going to be able to come on here one day without any interruptions, any technical difficulties, because that's just how I believe my God will do.
Right. Right.
So with that being said, Kia, it was a pleasure talking to you, probably getting to know all about Kia and what the transparency in her life is getting ready to do for her, open up doors. I pray that God continue to give you. If you want to say any encouraging words to Kia, as I always ask you to put them in the comments section. Should you want to go back and read those comments, if you want to say
Yeah.
something encouraging to her, let's encourage Kia. Let's encourage her to move. Let's encourage her to push. Let's encourage
Yes.
her to go, move, push,
Go.
and go in the name
Yes.
of Jesus.
Yes.
And so, with that being said, I just want to thank you very, very much for being on.
Thank you.
Um, this was enlightening to me. This was powerful to me. And again, I'm going to have you back on soon, especially when you start talking about the conference. We're going to do this again.
Yes.
And not only that, we're going to collaborate some things. I believe that God
Yes.
put me in your life and yours and mine to collaborate some things.
Yes.
Now, what
Yes.
that look like, I don't know, but God knows.
God knows it all. He knows it all. He knows
Yes,
it all. Because
yes,
remember, we used to work together and
exactly.
we found each other.
You know
It's
what?
like,
I forgot to mention that. Can you go ahead and tell
yes,
them? You can go ahead and tell that
yes,
story real quick. How we met. I forgot all
yes,
about that.
yes. We used to work together. Oh my gosh, it was so many years ago.
Yes.
But we reconnected. It was one day I was actually sitting at work one day. I remember it so well. And I kept seeing your face in my head. And I'm like,
Wow.
I remember this lady. I'm like, what is her name though? Where do I know her from? Where do I know her from? And one day I went on, Michelle posted something and I seen you comment on it. And I said, that's her. That's where I know her from. And ever since then, I reached out to you for a friend request and everything. And we have been, friends ever since. And I believe that it was done that way for this day here,
That
and
was
for
at
what's
Sierra. Was
moving
that at
forward.
Sierra Military?
Yes.
Was I
Yes.
was
Sierra
I your
Military.
supervisor? Was I
You
your supervisor then?
you was the lead. Yep.
I was the lead then. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, Michelle is on Facebook. Me
Yep.
and Michelle both were the lead over there. I
Yep.
tell you, it's a small, small world. It's amazing how God reconnects you to people.
Exactly. It's strategic. And
That's
for
it.
this moment here,
That's
for
it.
this moment here,
That's
and moving
it.
forward. So that's where he does it.
Do you encouraging words for somebody out there that's looking for some healing? What encouraging words you have for them?
Um, First and foremost, seek God. Um, because he will help you through it all. Um, don't be afraid to speak to someone about it. And um ask, and if you're unsure as to who to go speak to, ask God to guide you to that person who's going to hold it, because you don't want to speak to everybody. So let God lead you to the right person so that your business don't get spread all over the place. But you have to get to a point in speaking it, because that's where your healing is, in releasing it. We can't hold it. That's where stress comes in, depression and all that stuff, because we hold it. So I just encourage someone to just get to a point of being able to release and give it to God and let him guide you.
And with your mentorship, how can they get in touch with you if they feel as though they want you as their mentor, their coach, their third ear?
Yes. You can inbox me, Akia Wagner on Facebook. You can send me a message through the Broken Empower group, the inbox with to Broken to Empower Facebook page. I also have been giving out my number, which is area code 732-245-8760. You can reach out to me directly. I don't care. My phone is always available for you to call me, and you can speak directly to me. I'm available.
And Prophetess Kia, the word of God speaks clearly. If you could speak to a woman that's looking at this or going to go back and look at this, what scripture would you give them to meditate on just for healing?
Ha, the one, actually, honestly, for me, the one that I spoke on yesterday, which is Ephesians 2:10, which basically takes you through, it speaks into the purpose, because all of us have a purpose, and what we're going through is is what we're going through is basically walking into our purpose. So you're not alone. He hasn't left you. He's just guiding you to your purpose.
Repeat that scripture one more time.
Ephesians 2nd chapter, verse 10.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to put it in the comment section for somebody who may want it, and go back and read it. Thank you so much, Kia, for being on here. I really do appreciate it. I enjoyed the dialogue. I enjoyed the feedback from the audience. God bless you all, and may He keep you and continuously prosper you in every area of your life. May abundance be called out from the east, the west. I always say it wrong, north and south. It's my way. But may abundance for all
four corners.
Yes, for all those who come back and read, look at this video. I speak life into you and not death. I ask you to be mindful of the words that you say out of your mouth, because the power is in the tongue, and that you may continuously speak life in your life and in others that you encounter. To God be the glory. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. You have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.